Welcome to this free immigration help channel. Today is July 26, 2024, and this video we will talk about the I-90 application to replace or renew permanent resident card, green card. So I have done this video before, but this is an update as there was recently an update that just came out on the form, on the application I-90, and this is one of the very first things that I would like you to do once you get to the page I-90 is to verify the edition date and make sure that this is what you're looking at, that you are filling out the most updated application, because a lot of times USCIS does not accept an outdated application. So as of right now, as you can see, as of July 26, 2024, we are on April 1st, 2024 edition date of the I-90 application. So in this video, I will show you how to fill out the application, how to file, where to file, how much it costs. We're gonna go through the application itself step by step, each part. There are two ways to fill it out. You can do it by mail and online. The questions are going to be exactly the same. It will just look a little bit different, but you can definitely, whether you're doing it by mail or online, you can definitely follow this video as your guide. But let's start from the very beginning on where to find the I-90 application form. All right, this is the official government website for U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, USCIS.gov. This is the website that we use most of the times for all of our immigration needs. So if you click on the forms at the very top of this navigation menu, you will see it's actually, because it's one of the most accessed forms, you can see at the very in the drop down, the very beginning, I-90 application to replace permanent resident card right here. But you can also go to all forms and search it that way through either through search bar right here, or you can scroll down. It's all in alphabetical numerical order, or from the very start, from the homepage, you can just type in I-90 here in the search bar, and that will come up right there. And this is what the page for the application looks like. Now, the very first thing you will see, there will be alerts. They will be different, the most updated. So if you're looking at, if you're watching this video a few months down the road, there might be different alerts. Make sure to read them, because sometimes, for certain people, might be applicable. It's really is, if there is any kind of update, they usually show up in alerts, so make sure you go through these. The next thing you will see is that USCIS gives you ability to check naturalization eligibility, and the reason why they put it right here is because USCIS, I would say in the past couple years, they started encouraging, they had a few programs, a few grants for organizations to encourage and help people become naturalized. So people who had their permanent residence for a certain period of time, for 5 years if you have a permanent residence, or for 3 years depending on which way you obtained your permanent residence, it gives you, an ability, you're eligible to apply for naturalization, becoming a U.S. citizen. And this is one of the things they want to encourage you, because obviously if you're renewing your permanent residence card, which is issued most of the times for 10 years, chances are you are eligible to apply for naturalization. So if that's the case, if that's what you want to do, there you go. They encourage you to do that. Now, if you scroll down a little bit more, there's an option to file the application online. And this is something that I would personally encourage you to do, because if you are filing it online, you are preventing a lot of potential mistakes. It's a lot more intuitive, a lot easier to fill it out online. You don't need to do any guesswork on how much you need to pay. You don't need to do any guesswork on where you need to file. In this video, I will show you where to file and how much you need to pay, but filing fees always change, and addresses get updated. So make sure you verify it with the most updated information from the official government website, USCIS.gov. With online application, you don't have to worry about that, because once you're done, you pay the fee, it automatically goes where it has to be, and it's pretty straightforward. So if you can, file it online. The only time that you will not be able to file the application online is if you are requesting a fee exemption. So if you're requesting a fee waiver, and I do have the video on how to fill out a fee waiver with an application, whatever application you're applying, submitting. I do have a video, it's I-912 application for, it's a fee waiver. But in any other situation, you can file the application online. So we got all of that out of the way. Where do you file the actual application, paper application, if you're filing it by mail? Here it is in the Forms and Documents Downloads drop-down tab right here. Form I-90. I'm going to open that. If you have an opportunity, I would highly recommend to go through the instructions. It is only 11 pages, so not too much instructions. But if you read through it, it will help you understand the purpose, the eligibility, the documents that you need to submit. You will have a very good understanding of what this application entails. So if you can, go through it. Okay. Here is the application I-90. As you can see, it's not a big application, only 7 pages. We will go through each of these step by step, so you wouldn't have any questions. Again, if you're filing this application online, you're gonna have the same exact questions, maybe in a little bit of a different order, but you can still follow along this video. As far as the paper application goes, this is PDF in front of us, and I would highly recommend filling it out if you're filing by mail. Filling this PDF out on the computer as much as possible, typed out, and then printing it, and then signing it, and then sending it. You can absolutely print it first and then fill it, the whole thing by hand, but typing up stuff, you know, family name, given name, whatever information you're typing up on the computer prevents a lot of mistakes, because a lot of times, you know, handwritings, they're different, and when you're reading handwriting, it's a lot easier to confuse a letter, and you know, you want to avoid that as much as possible. So, application to replace permanent resident card. Start here. As you can see, we're starting underneath this table right here. We're not using it. This is for immigration officer purposes only. This is the only thing that is okay in the paper application to leave completely blank. Nothing else will be left blank, and I will talk about this a little bit later. So let's start with the part 1, information about you. We are starting with the item 1, alien registration number, which most likely you do have a number, alien registration number. Once you start any kind of immigration process, you are issued an alien registration number. So you're typing it in here. Number 2 is USCIS online account number, if any. Sometimes when you create USCIS online account number, they give you, when you create a USCIS online account, they give you that online account number. Not always though. If you don't have it, don't leave it blank. Just type in none. Or you can do not applicable. Either way. But don't leave any blank spaces. Let's move on further. Your full name. Your card will be issued in this name. Keep in mind, this is the name that's going to appear on your card. Obviously should be your legal name. Family name, last name. Let's do John Doe. Given name is John. First name, John. No middle name. John Doe does not have middle name. Don't leave any blank spaces. If you leave blank spaces in a paper application, online application is fine. But in paper application that you're gonna be sending by mail, if you leave blank spaces in the fields like the name, they will return it back to you, and you will create an unnecessary delay. Don't do that. So here we don't want to type none, because I personally actually seen a case where USCIS confused and they put the middle name as none. So a guy's middle name was none after that. So you don't want to create that confusion. That's why you're better off to use NA. So if in the numbers, it's okay to use none, if that's the case, right? You don't have a social security number, you say none. You don't have online account number, you say none. That's fine. But in fields like where you can confuse none with an actual word, with an actual not an actual word, but a name or something, or street number or something like that, or street name, put not applicable. All right. Moving on to the item number 4. Has your name legally changed since the issuance of your permanent resident card? Yes, proceed to item number 5A. No, proceed to items number 6A. Not applicable. I never received my previous card. All right. So this is issuance of your change since the issuance of your permanent. So if you never had a previous card, then you're just selecting not applicable. Provide your name exactly as it is printed on your current permanent resident card. That is if yes. And if no, then you can fill this out on the computer anyway. So you would have to take a note of it and you would have to print it out first and then fill it out. And then moving further to the mailing address. So we got 6A, in care of name. So that will be your name, street number and name. 6C is apartment, suite, floor, if applicable. 6D is city or town, state, zip code, province, postal code. Again, if something is not applicable, just type in not applicable. Country. Physical address, same exact thing. Now the difference between mailing and physical address is that mailing address is where you are actually getting your mail. Physical address is where you actually live. And you know, a lot of times, I personally know it from my experience, that's the situation that when I was starting as, you know, just starting my immigration process here in US, I was living in one place, but I was more comfortable receiving mail in another place because my place of residence was not, you know, where I would like know that I will stay there for a long time because I was moving a lot. And a lot of times with immigrants, that's, you know, that's just how it is. So let's say you have a relative, let's say you have a friend that have an address where they live for a while and they will be living there. They have no plans to move or anything like this. And you're it's a lot more secure to receive your mail there. Obviously, immigration documents sent by mail are very important. You don't want them to get lost, especially things like, you know, new permanent residence card. So that's in these situations you use that. If it's the same address, just put it same address here. All right, that's fine. You can put the same address in both of these. All right, moving further. Still part 1, still information about you. Additional information: gender, male, female, date of birth, city, town, village of birth, country of birth, mother's name, given name, first name, father's name, given name, first name, class of admission. Now the class of admission is how you the status that you enter the country with. So for example, if you entered United States as, let's say, a student, you can just type in F1, or you can type in F1 student. If you enter the country as a refugee, type in refugee. So that's really what you don't have to, you know, if let's say it's some kind of immigrant visa, let's say it's a work visa, right? You entered with a H1B, for example, work visa. You can either type in H1B, that's fine, or you can type in work visa, that's also fine, or you can type in H1B work visa, that is also fine. There is really no particular format to how you answer this, but that's when you enter the country, what status did you have at your admission. Number 15 is date of admission. So when you enter the country, if you need to find out information, the travel history, I do have a video on this channel, how to pull up that travel history. So check it out. It is uploaded to this channel. And then number 16 is US Social Security number, if any. Most likely you do have that as a permanent resident. If you don't have it, don't leave the blank spaces. All right, moving further to part 2 now. It's application type. If you are a conditional resident, we got a note here. If you're conditional permanent resident status, for example, CR1, CR2, CF1, CF2, is expiring within the next 90 days, then do not file this application. See the what is the purpose of this application section of the form I-90 instruction for further information. So this is not for expiring conditional expiring conditional residence status. If you are in a conditional residence status and it is expiring, then you do have to apply for the removal of that conditional residence, and I do have the video on this channel on how to actually submit that petition to remove those conditions from your permanent residence status. So that's out of the way. We are answering now the application type. So my status is, and you can select only one box, you have 1A, lawful permanent resident, proceed to section A. 1B, permanent resident in commuter status, proceed to section A. 1C, conditional permanent resident, proceed to section B. All right, so let's proceed to the section A, to be used only by a lawful permanent resident or a permanent resident in commuter status. 2A, my previous card has been lost, stolen, or destroyed. 2B, my previous card was issued but never received. 2C, my existing card has been mutilated. 2D, my existing card has incorrect data because of Department of Homeland Security DHS error. That's what we're trying to avoid. 2E, my name or other biographical information has been legally changed since issuance of my existing card. 2F, my existing card has already expired or will expire within 6 months. All right. 2G1, I have reached my 14th birthday and am registering as required. So by the rules from the Department of Homeland Security, one of the reasons why you need to submit this I-190 is if you turn 14 and after 14 years old, you do have to renew your permanent residence card. 2G2, I have reached my 14th birthday and am registering as required. My existing card will expire before my 16th birthday. Note, if you're filing this application before your 14th birthday or more than 30 days after your 14th birthday, you must select reason 2J. All right, moving further to H1. I am a permanent resident who is taking out commuter status. To H1A, my port of entry into the United States will be. To H2, I'm a commuter. Again, for the commuter. 2I is I have been automatically converted to lawful permanent resident status. 2J is I have a prior edition of the alien registration card or am applying to replace my current permanent residence card for a reason that is not specified above. All right, so as you can see, there's quite a few options, quite a few reasons why you would apply, why you would submit the I-90 form. Make sure to go through all of them and make sure that you select exactly the one that applies to you. Most of the times, in most of the cases, it's going to be either 2A, my previous card has been lost, stolen, or destroyed, because these cards are issued for 10 years. Most of the times, it can happen. A lot of times, it's within 10 years, a lot can happen to your card, especially, if you're choosing to carry it on you all the time or something along those lines. Or you will be selecting to F, my existing card has already expired or will expire within 6 months. So this is just a normal renewal. But again, go through these. If whichever one's applicable to you, that's the one that you are selecting. All right, let's move on to the next one. We got section B for part 2 application type to be used only by conditional permanent resident. We got 3A, my previous card has been lost, stolen, or destroyed. 3B, my previous card was issued but never received. 3C, my existing card has been mutilated. 3D is my existing card has incorrect data because of DHS error. And 3E, my name or other biographic information has legally changed since the issuance of my existing card. As you can see for the section B, there is no option to renew if the card is expiring. If your card is expiring and you're a conditional resident, then you are submitting a different form, not the I-90. As you can see, this option is not here. Keep that in mind. All right, let's move on to the part 3 now, the processing information. Location where you applied for an immigration visa or adjustment of status. In this case, you can put the state. You can put, like, for example, if it's a port of entry, a lot of times it can be a port of entry, like a JFK airport. You can put that, or for example, if you applied for an immigrant visa and you were outside of the United States, you can put that. Again, there is no particular format of how you entering the information, but make sure it is understandable. All right, moving further to number 2, location where your immigrant visa was issued, or USCIS office where you were granted adjustment of status. Again, it can be, if you got your immigrant visa, let's say based on family reunification petition outside of the United States, let's say in Manila, Philippines, US Embassy, there you go. You can put in US Embassy, Manila, Philippines, or just Manila, Philippines. It would be understandable. They would understand that it is happened in the US Embassy. So again, there is no particular format. Or if it happened in the one of the field offices in the United States, you can put in the field office, city, state, and that would be sufficient. All right, complete item number 3A and 3A1 if you entered the United States with an immigrant visa. If you were granted adjustment of status, proceed to item number 4. So if you enter the US with a visa, immigrant visa, then you are dealing with 3A. If not, then you're moving to number 4. So 3A is destination in the United States at time of admission. So destination in the United States at time of admission, exactly what it sounds like. It's exactly what you're filling out here. So what was your destination in the United States at the time of admission? That's straightforward. 3A1, port of entry, were admitted to the United States. So where you were going and where you entered the United States of America. Again, port of entry, city or state is sufficient. Or you can say, for example, JFK, New York. That's also fine. Again, there is no particular format, but just do. And the same thing with the destination. Let's say you entered, your port of entry was New York, but your destination was actually, I don't know, Miami, Florida. There you go. You're putting, city, state. If you want to be more specific, you can. Number 4, or if this is not applicable, again, don't leave blank spaces, put in not applicable. Let's say that you didn't enter with the immigrant visa, but you did adjustment of status in the US, and that's not applicable. You're putting not applicable. All right, number 4 we got, have you ever been in exclusion, deportation, or removal proceedings or order removed from the United States? Hopefully that's a no, because if it's a yes, it creates a whole bunch of additional questions, whole bunch of additional explaining that you need to be doing. So hopefully it's a no. Since you were granted permanent residence, have you ever filed Form I-407, abandonment by alien of status as lawful permanent resident, or otherwise been determined to have abandoned your status? Again, hopefully no. If yes, you'll have to do some explaining why did that happen, but hopefully it's no. If you answered yes to item number 4 or 5 above, provide a detailed explanation in the space provided in part 8 additional information. I will show you how to fill out that space. Moving further, we got still the biographic information. Number 6 is ethnicity. Number 7, race. Number 8, height. Number 9, weight. 10, eye color. 11, hair color. Just basically describe yourself. That's really straightforward. Moving further to the part 4, accommodations for individuals with disabilities or impairments. So if you have any kind of disabilities, there is a way for USCIS to accommodate you. So if you need extra space to complete this section, use space provided in part 8 additional information. If you need to provide the description, again, I will show you once we get to the part 8, I will show you how to do it. So number 1, are you requesting an accommodation because of your disabilities and or impairments? All right, so yes or no. If you answered yes, select any applicable boxes. So there's I'm deaf or hard of hearing and request the following accommodation, whatever it is. I'm blind or have low vision. Again, description of what you're requesting. I have another type of disability, and again, there is some space to explain that disability is and what kind of accommodations you are requesting. Moving further to part 5, application statement, contact information, certification, and signature. But basically, you're done with the application. So this is just, you're certifying that's really it. Pretty straightforward. So the very first thing is the applicant statement. There's a few options. Most of the times it's going to be 1A. I can read and understand English, and I have read and understand every question. So if you follow this along, that's you, you know. 1B is there was an interpreter named, and number 2 is at my request preparer named in part 7. So if you had an interpreter, part 6 will have to be filled out by the interpreter. If you had a preparer, part 7 will have to be filled out, and we will talk about this in a little bit. But interpreter and preparer is referred to paid services. Sometimes sometimes you have those free immigration clinics that provide, you know, what is it called? The services, you know, for free. It's some kind of non-profit organization sometimes, and it's a service. And in that case, yes, you would have to enter them here. But most of the times, regardless, it's a third party. The reason why I'm bringing this up is if you had, you know, your son, your daughter sit with you and explain some things to you, your friend helped you out with something, you don't have to put them as an interpreter. You don't have to put them as a preparer, all right? They don't have to sign. It's only when there's a third party actually providing you a service. And interpreter is going to be someone who is doing the translation, who's helping you understand the questions. Preparer is going to be someone who's actually preparing this form for you. Most of the times it is an attorney. But again, there are third parties, immigration services that are not accredited attorneys that do sort of stuff, gray area. Let's not get into that, but you get the point. So most of the times it's just going to be 1A. And if that's the case, that's it. Applicant contact information, that's your information. Daytime phone number, mobile phone number, email address. I would highly recommend putting all three. And then the signature, obviously you can sign it on the computer. You would have to print it out and sign it. And the date you can put on the computer. Part 6 is the interpreter. If you didn't have the interpreter, I would recommend going through the whole thing and putting not applicable, not applicable. I know it sounds silly, but it's better that way so that there is absolutely no possibility for any kind of confusion or anybody entering anything wherever you don't want it to be entered. So go through it and do that. And then the same thing for the preparer. Preparer, again, most of the times, if you do have an immigration attorney, they will be filling out the Part 7. They are a preparer. So they will be filling out their information here, which is their full name, their organization number, their mailing address, their contact information, and then the same thing. As you can see, for an attorney, there's actually, not for an attorney, for a preparer, there's a selection whether they are an attorney or not. All right. Okay, the last part here is the Part 8, additional information. That is if you need to enter any additional information that you don't have space to enter in the main application. So basically what you do here is you fill in your last name, first name, middle name, if any, alien registration number, if any, and then you enter page number, part number, item number, and then the additional information that you want to input. Now, wherever you didn't have the enough space, let's say, for example, we're talking about Part 4 accommodations for individuals with disabilities. All right, let's say, for example, 1C, you selected 1C, you typed out something here, you don't have enough space to describe the situation better. You go to the page number, it's page number 4. So you scroll down to this, page number 4. Let's see. Item number, so part number 4, 1C. So part number 4 and the item 1C, and then you enter whatever additional information that you did not have enough space to enter it in the main application. That's really it. That's really it. This is your application. Once you're done filling it out, print it out. Once you print it out, you go through it several times, make sure that there's nothing that is left blank, make sure obviously to sign it, and you're ready. You're ready with your paper application. Now, there are a few things that you would need to submit with that application, and you can see the checklist of the required initial evidence. Go through it. Again, I would recommend reading the instructions because it it goes over the additional evidence that is required, but for different, like for example, if your previous car has been lost, stolen, destroyed, or mutilated, did you provide the following? A copy of your green card or government issued form of identification that contains your name, date of birth, photograph, and signature. If your previous card was issued but never received, did you provide the following? A copy of a government issued form of identification, again, a copy of your latest form I-797, that is the receipt. So you get the point. For different situations, it's going to be different evidence that is required. Make sure to go over it. That's a very nice thing about the online application, because once you're done with the application, it opens up exactly what you need to submit and you can upload it. Just scan the copy of your government issued ID of whatever it is you need to upload and just drag and drop, and that's it. It's going to be uploaded, and once you submit it, it's going to be transmitted in electronic version to USCIS for immigration officer to review. Pretty straightforward. Now, if you're filing it by mail, where do you file your paper application? Well, there is a drop tab here where to file. So again, USCIS tells you that there's two ways to file it, online or by mail. Filing online, very convenient. Again, if you can do it online. But if you have to file it by mail, if you're requesting a fee waiver, you do have to file it by mail. And here are two addresses for you to file your I-90 by mail. If you're sending it with USPS, this is where you're sending it. If you're sending it with a courier, FedEx, UPS, or DHL, this is where you're sending it. So make sure you're sending it to correct address. Now, how much does it cost? How much is the application? All right, so on this same page, you will see there is a filing fee drop tab. So click on that. You will see the very first link, fee schedule. So we're gonna click on this. And there you go. Here it is, I-90 application to replace permanent resident card. If it did not show up for you, you can select it from a drop down here. Select I-90 and you will see this table with the fees. So general filing fee, paper application fee is $465. Online application fee filing fee is $415. As you can see, the online application is cheaper than paper application. Keep that in mind. Again, if you're submitting the fee waiver, then obviously you are, not paying if it is approved, you're not paying the fee at all, and that's really the reason to file the paper application. So keep that in mind. And that's really it. So we're gonna go back. There you go. That's really it. Pretty straightforward. Usually, once you with online application, it's definitely going to be faster, because once you submit it, it is immediately already there in the electronic, whether it's a National Benefit Center or whatever electronic service center that they use, whatever service center that they use to process these electronic applications. So yeah, there is obviously no mailing that is involved, so a lot of times it is faster. And once it is received, usually within few weeks, you receive that notice of receipt, that you get the receipt number, which you can check the case status online here on the same website, USCIS.gov. I do have the video on how to do that, so if you are wondering, you can find the answers on this channel. And if you have any questions along the process, just drop them in the comments below, and I do go over these questions, and I do Q&A videos on this channel as well. So hopefully you found this video helpful. Thank you very much for watching. God bless, and I will see you in the next video.